everybody. This is Sick Productions, and I am your host, the Dark Lord of Creation. And you're welcome. If you're not familiar with our channel, the only thing you need to know is creativity is key. That's right. Creativity is everything here to us at Sick Productions. If you can create something, then by damn it, put it out there! Because we are sick and tired of everybody not wanting to do something. And not even that you don't want to do something, but you don't want to create because you're afraid. You're afraid of not being accepted, afraid of being rejected or not appreciated. Well, guess what? We're going to change that. Or at least try to. Today we're starting a brand new series of short stories. The story we're going to read today is from a Reddit user, and I'm going to pull his story up right now. Here we go. The Reddit user is Mr. Dude, all capitalized, 395. So if you care to reach out to him, say thanks, say great story, or say, hey, dude, try harder. As long as you keep it positive, you know. You can reach to him there. That's his Reddit handle, Mr. Dude 395. And here we go. I've never read this story, just so everyone knows. This is a first take reaction. And honestly, I'm really excited. I love reading other people's work. So here we go. Skin. It all started when I was around 20 years old. It happened during winter, and I barely felt it. I thought my hands were just a bit more dry than usual, and that it was the cold weather that caused it. Over the next few winters, it became worse. The dry skin spread out to my back, my shoulders, and the sides of my arms. The skin on my hands was sometimes so dry it would just rip. My hands looked like they were covered in a whole bunch of tiny paper cuts. Sometimes there were as many as 10 to 15 cuts on each hand. By the time I was 24, it got really bad. Winter had just barely begun and my hands were covered in cuts again. And with every move I made, cuts cracked open and started bleeding. My back, shoulders, and arms started bleeding now too. I tried going to the doctor, but there was nothing he could do. All I had was just dry skin. And some lotion should help. It didn't. But that wasn't the worst part. In my 24th winter, I started hearing it. It sounded like someone with troubled breathing. At first, I blamed the sound on my laptop or whatever other electronic object was near me. I just needed an explanation. Then, a few weeks later, I saw him for the first time. The thing that made the noise. I never got a good look at him. He was always standing in dark places. And when I looked directly at him, he just wasn't there. I thought I was going insane. But like every year, all my problems ended when winter did. I tried to live my life like normal. I tried to be happy. But he was always in the back of my head. All year long, the only thing I could really feel was dread. Dread for the coming winter. As winter came closer, I grew more scared by the day. And when my hands started to feel dry again, I knew he would be coming soon. The moment my skin tore open for the first time this winter, I saw him again. He was in the shadows. But he didn't disappear when I looked at him anymore. He was always there. He followed me. Not physically. He was not walking behind me. He was just always around me. Somewhere in the shadows. I still couldn't get a good look at him, but now I was certain the sound came from him. It was him breathing. But it sounded rough, as if his throat was damaged somehow. The cuts were worse than ever and were bleeding constantly. Now all over my body, every move I made hurt like hell. I was too scared to do anything, go anywhere. I stayed at home with as many lights on as possible, but he always seemed to be cloaked in darkness. It was another cold winter night, maybe one of the coldest in years. I was sitting on the edge of my couch, trying to sit as still as possible. Every inch of my body burning. I tried to watch TV, but the only thing I could look at was sitting in a dark corner somewhere. It was so cold outside that the heater couldn't keep up to keep my apartment warm. As I was sitting there staring at him, and him staring back from the shadows, he suddenly stood up. At first I didn't notice. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me because I tried not to blink, because I was tired, because I didn't want to believe. I got so scared I wanted to run away from him, from all this crap, but I know it wouldn't help. He would just be there, always in the shadows around me. For the first time I saw him, he was taller than me, taller than most people are. He wasn't muscular, but not skinny either. All he was wearing was a torn cloth around his waist. His skin was pale white with blue veins all over his hairless body. He had black, sharp nails about the length of a lighter. And his face? He didn't really have a face. He had the definitions of a face, but he only had eyes. The rest was just not there. His eyes were white, and when I looked into them, I got cold, frozen. They made me think of winter, a white, unstirred plain of ice without pupils. But the most terrifying and the source of sound was his throat. It looked like it was just vertically cut open with a dull knife, and blood seemed to gush out of it constantly. He slowly put his hands into the wound as he's walking towards me and ripped it open. Even more blood started to gush out, and it stood open wide. Inside I saw row after row of teeth. He was very near me and raised his hands toward me, his black nails shining in the light. I was scared, frozen. I couldn't take my eyes from him. As he stood before me, both already covered in blood, he grabbed me by the neck and threw me onto the floor, numb by the force which he had threw me with, and the floor made slippery with blood. I couldn't get up and run. I felt his sharp nails slice through the skin on my back. I screamed as hard as I could. It hurt so much. He was cutting in my skin and ripping pieces from the tendons and muscles it was attached to. After he was done with ripping off the skin on my whole backside, he kicked me on my back. I had already stopped screaming and crying. I was too tired, too weak. Barely conscious, the only thing I could still do was stare into his cold eyes. As he bent over me again, I felt his nails dig deep into my chest. And once again, he started to cut and rip pieces of skin from my body. The only difference between now and when I was laying on my stomach was that now I could see what he was doing with my skin. He was feeding himself. He grabbed a piece of skin from my chest and ripped it off. He brought the skin to the hole in his throat and put it in. He kept doing it until I didn't have a piece of skin left on my body. Then he moved his right hand to the top of my throat, right below my chin. He now made a fist with his hand, but left his middle finger and pointed his nail downward. Then with a fast motion, he stabbed me and sliced down. It hurt so much, and I tried to scream again, but I could only make a gargling, raspy sound. I blinked, and when I opened my eyes again, he was gone. I grabbed my throat, trying to close the wound, trying to survive, but I had already lost so much blood that it didn't take long before I passed out. I don't know how long I was out. The only thing I could think about was how I could have survived this. The blood around and on me was all dried up. I tried to sit up. I barely succeeded. I noticed all the lights in my apartment were off. But when I looked down on my body, I did see something. I had skin. I had pale, white skin. It was too white. I didn't like it. When I moved, it hurt. I had to do something. This isn't fair. My skin is hurting so much. I wanted my own skin back. Suddenly, I was somewhere else. I was sitting in a dark corner in some room. I saw someone sitting on the couch watching TV. He couldn't see me, but I could see him. This skin, it hurts. It isn't mine. I want another skin. Maybe I can take his. I tried to scratch off his skin with my long nails, but I couldn't. I was not strong enough yet. All I could do was scratch his skin. His skin. I want it. I want normal skin again. This skin hurts. The end. Whoa. Damn. Mr. Dude. I don't know what you guys thought. That was kind of a wild ride. Honestly, I wasn't expecting as visceral of a story. I mean, he didn't mislead us with the title, though. That was really crazy. I love the idea. First off, love the idea, love the concept. You got some kind of creature, monster. It reminds me of the movie. Yeah, It Follows. It reminds me of It Follows in the fact that there is this entity, bad thing, that attaches itself to one person. The only way they can get rid of it is by transferring that to another person through whatever means. And it's very reminiscent, but way, way more visceral. Extremely more visceral. I mean, that one was about sex. This one was a straight, like, I need to eat your skin. But it was really, I think the part that I liked most was when he now had the condition, we'll call it, is like you really felt for him, you know, as the main character of the story. Like, they went through a lot, and in the end, like, they're just kind of, you know, they just got the shaft on that one. So I don't feel bad for the person in the end that they tried to get the skin off, even though they'll probably be following them now. That seems to be the cycle. But you just feel bad for the main character. You're like, damn, I hope you get some new skin there, bud. You know, no one likes that white skin. Just kidding. That's I'm white. Anyway, that's the story. That's everything, you guys. If you would like to be a part of this channel in whatever way, I don't care what you create. Literally, I do not. I create everything. I made this. I made freaking a drum out of a metal bucket the other week. I don't care what you make. It doesn't matter. Creativity is not about what, but it's about the process. And I appreciate anything anyone creates. So, if you want your story read, your artwork showcased, what else do people create? Music. If you would like to have your music showcased on here, you know, feel free. Reach out. Hit me up. My Instagram is @sickmindofficial. Follow my page there. Posting more content as the day goes by. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Bye. This is now the end of our show. I bet that you didn't want to go. but you have to. So get out.